Well, I think one of the logical questions is, how does a church even begin? Is it like starting a business? And the answer is yes, but no, and nor should it be. And to think that there is a one-size-fits-all, God doesn't work like that. There are myriad ways to start churches, and the truth of the matter is, even in this situation, I'm not entirely sure if what I'm going to do or what I'm a part of is going to work out. And what do I say that? Is it a lack of confidence? Absolutely not. The God that I serve is worthy and awesome, and everyone should follow. But at the same time, free will happens. And so all that means is my God is not going to force himself on people, and that's just the way God is. And so Jesus even would send out the disciples 2 by 2. Hey, Jesus said, go into a town, tell them about me. If they accept, then great. Then start a community in that area. If they don't accept, then wipe the dust from your feet and move on to the next place. So in that sense, I don't really have a control over the outcome. The only thing I can do is tell everyone about the good news that Jesus, the Passover lamb, has died on the cross for sin, has made a way for us not to be in charge of ourselves any longer, but instead has opened up the door to salvation, opened up the door that we might follow him and walk in life. Now, in majority world countries, sometimes churches happen organically. Even in the States, it does happen organically. Sometimes someone's particularly gifted at doing a Bible study and it grows organically, and then they're like, hey, we've got a church going on here. Maybe we need to allow other people to come in. And so you have something that is formed. Well, let me tell you what I'm not about. I am not about trying to get into a building or something like that. And in fact, there's no human that really starts a church. Humans have a charge, and that is to spread the good news about Jesus, to make disciples, to teach people how to observe the things that God has told us to observe. And as people do that, an assembly forms. So it's not like I'm really a part of a group that even is looking to start a church. I'm looking to more make disciples, and we'd like to see a church emerge out of it, but that isn't our primary goal. Now, what are the phases? This is not exhaustive, but because I've done this before, and it's a way that works for me and my style, I'll let you know kind of how it works. So the first phase is the gathering phase. I'm going to be putting out some door hangers and walking neighborhoods and talking to people and using social media as appropriate, but it's just basically a time where I gather. And then after the gathering phase, there is an education phase. This is the time where people get to ask me questions. So in that regard, there's going to be 3 or 4 informational meetings. I'll maybe rent out a room or something at the Rayleigh's One on, I think it's on Blue Oaks and Fitiment area. I might rent out a couple of the rooms, maybe use some houses, but the informational meetings are designed that you can come and ask all your questions, get to know me, learn more about the church planting phase, learn more about the law or Torah, theology, whatever it is that you have. But I also take that time to share a little bit more about the vision of it all. What does it look like? Also during this phase, I'm going to expect that there will be people that I get to lead to the Lord, and they won't know anything about the Bible. So I'll need to shepherd that group to teach them just first steps in how to follow Jesus. And then there's going to be people who have been part of the church for a long time and have discovered for themselves that the law or the Torah is something that they need to be following, and whatever. They're just more mature. They know their way around the Scripture, and because that is true, I'll need to help that group get on the same page with me. And if there's things that I need to learn during that time, then so be it. But that would be the education phase. The next phase is the covenant or charter phase. The education phase is going to take place, and this is where I'm comfortable, is that there needs to be at least 10 families in order to get to the, we're going to covenant together, that we're going to stay true to this particular congregation in the Roseville area for, maybe it'll be a year, just whatever we agree on. But it's kind of these charter members. And what does it really mean to be a part of a covenant, biblical, godly community? So I will teach on what that looks like, and then people will come alongside. As soon as we get 10 committed families, and I'm looking, probably between 30 and 40 adults in total, then we can move on to more what's called, I'd say, preparatory worship. If we're ever going to go public, you've got to first have kind of like your ducks in a row. You need to be able to have some common songs that you're singing, ways that you go about an order of service, things that are orderly. That, I think every family knows this, that when you plan ahead and you have your family operating well, when you have guests over, then it makes it good for everybody. And so during the preparatory worship phase, we will get everyone on the same page there, so that way we operate together smoothly. And it's so much easier to welcome new people when you're not just trying to figure out how you're going to get your internal issues taken care of. Let's get that taken care of first, and then after we get all of those things worked out, then we can move on to that phase. And then that phase would be the public phase. That's the last phase where you move from a preparatory worship, where I would say we're going to probably meet 3 or 4 times on a seventh day, a Shabbat, we call it. And then after we do that 3 or 4 times on a monthly basis, then we can open up the doors to a public service. So anyway, those are the phases that, given my personality type and leadership style, work well for me. It worked in the past. Again, I've learned some things along the way. I'll tell you about that in other videos, but that's just kind of the basic way to move through the process. But you need to hear in all this, plans change. And the reason they change is because I am not in charge of this endeavor. God is in charge of this endeavor, and God can reserve the right to change whatever he wants, when he wants, and I have to be sensitive to the Spirit's leading in that. And I would expect that the people around me that are ultimately going to help run this will be sensitive to the Spirit's leading as well. All right, until I see you in the next video.